Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Today we shall be doing a review and comparison of two Imperial Guard formations. The Ogryn Auxilia and the Rampart Detachment. The Ogryn Auxilla can be found in the Mont Ca supplement for the Imperial Guard. Like so many of our formations can be found in this book. And the Rampart Detachment can be found in the Red War Sanctus Reach supplement. Both of these formations, if you haven't already guessed, are heavily centered around Ogryns and Bulgryns, and potentially can take these units from being overcosted piles of shit into, competitive, good, even. I do think one is better than the other. I'll tell you which one I think is better at the end. And without further ado, I say we get straight into it. So, we'll go with the Ogryn Auxilia first. This is a formation. It requires 1 Commissar, 2 units of Ogryns, 2 units of Bulgryns. Restrictions? None. Very simple. At a bare minimum, this will be 1 Commissar and 6 Ogryns and 6 Bulgryns. But it can be boosted up to ridiculous levels. I imagine, even bare bones, this formation is very expensive, so I imagine most people will run it around the minimum. But let's see what advantages you get for taking this. So, it gives you 2 special rules. 1, ground shaking charge. If a unit of Ogryns or Bulgryns in this formation charges an enemy unit that has already been charged by a unit of Ogryns or Bulgryns from this formation in the same assault phase, the Hammer of Wrath hits resolve at strength 7. Second special rule, unquestioning loyalty. Units of Ogryns and Bulgryns from this formation that are within 12 inches of the Commissar from this formation, so not any Commissar, have the fearless special rule. What do I think of this formation? I don't think it's very good. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's very good. 1, it's quite expensive. Okay. 2, it forces you to take Ogryns. And Ogryns themselves are terrible. Bulgryns are good. Bulgryns are usable. But Ogryns are terrible. Simply because of their 5+ armor save. They're expensive as hell. And with the 5+ armor save, generally speaking, they're going to die before they get anywhere. I mean, toughness 5 doesn't mean shit in the day and age of monstrous creatures, unfortunately. So yeah, it forces you to take Ogryns, which are subpar, and they're your attacks, essentially. And then you have ground shaking charge, which sounds great, having Hammer of Wrath resolved at strength 7. That sounds great. That's, sounds good, but in reality it's actually pretty bad, and I'll tell you why. Because it specifically says a unit has already been charged by a unit of Ogryns or Bulgryns. Do you know how big a Bulgryn model is? They're fucking huge. So is an Ogryn model. Their bases, 3 of them, lined up, will pretty much, for any normal size 5 to 10 man squad, that will cover it. Which means for you to get round the sides, which you're going to have to do to get your Hammer of Wraths in, you've got to go. You've got a longer charge distance, and if you do go straight in, it's probably going to be room for 1 or 2 guys on the front. So you, realistically speaking, you're only going to get 1 to 2 of these strength 7 Hammer of Wrath hits. Doesn't seem very good. And then you have unquestioning loyalty. Now this is okay. Unquestioning loyalty is okay, but kind of relies on you being next to this, within the range of this Commissar, this 1 wound, toughness 3 dude. You're probably going to end up sticking him in with one of the squads of Ogryns or Bulgryns. Could put him in, he's not an independent character, but you could put him in with a big blob of infantry. But still, inevitably, 12 inches is kind of an okay range. But inevitably, you're going to have 1 to 2 of your Bulgrin Ogryn squads out of range. And then they're relying on their terrible leadership 6 and 7, which is bad. You know, and the fact that a single enemy scout sniper team, Space Marines, scout snipers, if you play, you know, I mean, how many times do Space Marines take scout snipers if they're taking taking some Space Marines as allies? Oh, what's your tax? There's your little 5-man sniper squad for the allied detachment. You know what I mean? That 5-man squad is just going to pick off your commissar. Dead. Done. Because the commissar, not an independent character, is he? Not in this book. Which means 4+ lookout sir. Not very good. So I think this formation is pretty rubbish. Honestly. If it was the only formation out there with Ogryns in it, Ogryns and Bulgryns in it, and you were a player who had an absolute hard-on for Ogryns and Bulgryns, then I would say take it, because if you were going to take that many Ogryns and Bulgryns anyway, you might as well take a formation. But I don't think it's particularly good. I feel like the Ogryns are attacks. I don't think they're going to do anything, that they're going to die. I don't think the Bulgryns, because you're spending so much on Ogryns, you're essentially not able to spend those points on Bulgryns, and yeah, you guys get the picture. It ain't so good. So I'm not a big fan of it. Sorry to the person who requested me to do this formation. I honestly don't think it's a very good formation. But do not give up hope. Do not lose faith in the Emperor, for he has provided you with another formation called the Rampart Detachment. And the Rampart Detachment is, I'm just going to go out and say it, good. It's not amazing, but it is just solid. If you're going to take the big, lovable bastards that are Ogryns and Bulgryns, then this is the way to run them. Honestly, this is the way to run them. So, what is the Rampart Detachment? Well, it is simply made up of a platoon command squad and 2 5-man Bulgryn squads. Okay? So, a similar number of Ogryns/Bulgryns. No Ogryns in this one, but a similar number of models. You know, you've got a minimum of 10 Bulgryns rather than a minimum of 12. And they're led by a platoon command squad, which means an extra order. What's wrong with that? What do you get for taking this? Well, you get fearless. Straight up. You don't need to be within 12 inches of anyone. You just get fearless. That's good. That's better. That's much better. That means those Bulgryns ain't going anywhere. They've got to go down to the last man. That's 30 toughness 5 wounds. You know, if they've got locked shields, that's 30 toughness 5, 3+ save wounds. If they've got little, you know, Bulgryn shields, little bucklers, that's a 5+ invern or 4+ armor save. That's good. Fearless. Then they have fear. Not a big rule, but if your Bulgryns are gonna be smashing heads in close combat. No reason that they shouldn't, you know, have fear, and it might help against, you know, a lot of armies are fearless, but it's a free rule. You can't complain about that. Counter-attack. Fucking great. Fucking great. You no longer need to and ah over, are you going to get the charge or are you going to be charged? You quite honestly now don't give a shit. You know, you don't care. If you charge, you get +1 attack. If you get charged, you get +1 attack. The only thing you're missing out on is your Hammer of Wrath. It's a good rule. You've got 3 good rules here. Fearless, well, 2 good and 1 okay. Fearless, good. Fear, okay. Counterattack, fucking great. Not even finished yet. We're not even finished yet. Last special rule you get, +1 cover for anyone even partially covered by the formation. That's good. That means if you have this formation, let's say you've got, it's even partially covered, that's the key, okay? That's the key. let's say you've got 2 platoons. Let's say you've got 2 big-ass platoons, 40, 50-man platoons, and you've got this formation in front of them, and you've got some Bulgans with some shields locked together. That means the formation behind, the garrison behind, are getting a 3+ cover save. 2+, you get a 5+ for intervening models, +1 for the Bulgar shield. That's the standard. +1 for the formation, 3+ cover save. Thank you. If it's night fighting, 2+ cover save. That is not bad. And there's no real tax in the squad. That's the best thing. There's no real tax. You've got 2 5-man Bulgarian squads. That's okay. They're not a tax. They are the fucking point of the formation. They are good. The platoon command squad is not a tax. That's a order. You know, as we're playing foot guard, we love orders, so let's take some more orders. You know, there's no tax in this formation, and it's got a load of great rules. So it's good. It's a solid formation, and I honestly, I think it's a hidden gem. You know how we have this thing on this channel, you know, the hidden gems of the Imperial Guard. This is a hidden gem. Like the Hellhound, this is a hidden gem of the Imperial Guard. You know, you rock this formation against anyone who isn't spamming D weapons. I mean, let's go to a magical, wonderful world where Tau and Eldar don't exist. Because I can never give you advice to beat Tau and Eldar reliably because they're bullshit. But let's assume we're just facing a standard army, someone normal like Space Marines. Space Marines are really good, but let's just assume we're facing some standard ass fucking Space Marines. This formation is really good. It's really defensive. Don't forget. Pardon me. Don't forget. You can run Pulkrins. You just order them to run. You move them. You've got Bulgarians, and you know they don't get blown back because they're big and meaty. You know, you lose 1 or 2 guys. You're not getting blown back like you do when you're trying to push it with a normal platoon squad. You know, so what we're talking about here is you've got 2 platoons. Imagine you're advancing forward. Your Bulgarians are rocking forward 12 inches a turn. They're going to make contact eventually. That's a fucking missile, that is. That's a fucking missile. Your Bulgarians are rocking forward, getting up in your enemy's face. Your platoons are advancing steadily behind them. Your platoons are laying down serious firepower. We're talking las cannons, plasma guns, which is softening up enemy targets and making them a obvious threat. So your opponent will try and do damage to your las cannon plasma gun platoons. And he's going to struggle because you're going to have a 3+ cover save. And if he doesn't do damage to them, instead he goes after your Bulgarians, well, then your platoon's advancing up the field unmolested. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, I don't think much more needs to be said. I think the Rampart Detachment is fantastic. I think the Ogryn Auxilla Detachment is terrible. And so, obviously, like I said at the beginning of the video, I said I'd tell you which one I prefer. I much prefer the Rampart Detachment. The only tiny niggly thing that may put you off the Rampart Detachment is the fact that it doesn't include any normal Ogryns. But normal Ogryns are shit, so it's not really a big loss. But if you have in your heart just a love for Ogryns, you know, perhaps in a previous life you were an Ogryn, then perhaps in this life you're an Ogryn. Sorry. But if you have, in all seriousness, if you have a love for Ogryns, then you know, I still wouldn't recommend the Ogryn Auxilia. I would recommend you take them normally, because then you're not paying the tax for Bulgarians essentially. But if you don't care if your Ogryn comes in Ogryn or Bulgarin format, and you want to take a chunk of Ogryn, a chunk of muscle, just go Rampart Detachment. No questions asked. So, in summary, in conclusion, which are they competitive? Okay, well, Ogryn Auxilia is not competitive, and I would barely even recommend you use it for friendly games, so it's terrible. The Rampart Detachment, I would argue, is semi-competitive. I think it will do well in any local tournament and in any competitive friendly game. As with anything Imperial Guard, it will struggle going up into the big leagues of Grand Tournament, National Tournament, International Tournament. It will struggle with anything ITC, ETC related. But it won't let you down, I would say. I think the Rampart Detachment is fairly solid. A little bit expensive, though. That's its one downside. It's a little bit expensive. So you guys give me some feedback, tell me what you think. If I've missed anything, I do sometimes miss the occasional little bit and bob with these formations or miss a trick, but I don't think I have done with this one. But yeah, please give me your feedback. And if you've got any other formations you want me to review or any lists you want me to review, just send me a message, leave a comment, and I'll do my best to do that. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you for watching.